As the leader of the Booner Pad, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports and the Crunch Time Sports Show with Jeff Iafrate. Booner will be joining us. He is going to be here. He's coming home from work. He's got a little bit of a drive. So about 20 minutes into the show, Booner will be joining us. Flannel Sam will be joining us as well. Lots to get to today. All right, like the title says, NFC executive spoke on David Montgomery's future with the Lions, gave his opinion on what he thinks the Lions will do, what the league is talking about when it comes to what David Montgomery's future looks like, Maxx Crosby's future. I have an update on that, or at least a report on that, and, more speculation in my opinion, but we'll get to it. And on top of that, I'm going to rank some of the Lions players in different tiers on defense. We talked about the defense yesterday, watching the Super Bowl, and the Seahawks win the Super Bowl because of that defense. So we'll rank those tiers. Shout out to Pride of Detroit. They have the tier ranking list. Maybe Booner can join, and either we can do one with Booner as well, or you can just critique mine. Either way, but a lots to get to today. It is Tuesday, so Flannel Sam is joining as well. Appreciate those who are in the chat. Riley's in here. Vincent, Anakin, Shift God, Dennis. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I see Nick as well. By the way, hit the like button on the stream. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Get your merchandise at officialctsports.com. And on top of that, leave a 5-star review if you're listening via any podcast platform you listen to us on. But like I said, lots to get to today. Joe Klatt had his mock draft, so it's going to be a good show. Tomorrow we have the doc coming on, which, by the way, the doc, we talk a lot about Dave Burkett in the weeks he's had, just reporting on the Lions the last couple of weeks. He's had a lot of stuff coming out, which has been super valuable information. The doc last week reported on Maxx Crosby, hit another report this week on what his sources are telling him. So it's something we'll talk about with the doc tomorrow as well. That'll be a great show, so you're going to want to be there for that. But to start us off, we're going to, and by the way, we'll get to the Justin Verlander stuff as well. I want to get to it with Booner. We'll talk some Tigers. So a lot of things we can chomp away at today. The first thing I want to show you guys is what Maxx Crosby reportedly told Tom Brady, part owner of the Raiders. Now, this is a report coming from somebody that I don't know the validity, and I don't know. It's reported by someone who has almost 500,000 on Twitter, and he's been a reporter in the NFL. I've heard mixed opinions on that said reporter. I've heard, the reporter apparently has had information in the past that has been disproven. But someone with that type of influence, we at least have to bring up what he said about one of the bigger storylines in the NFL and in the offseason, Maxx freaking Crosby. We talked a lot about him last week. So I'm going to show you guys this article. I'm going to read some parts of it, and you guys tell me what you think. All right. So here's the article that was written. It was written by JL California, and fact checked by Lewis Hobbs. Okay. So I don't know if they have a fact checker on this, sportsboom.us. I don't know if you guys have ever checked out their website. He's an NFL insider, JL California. He has close to 500,000 on X. So he's relatively reliable. Again, I can't speak and back him up. I'm looking at his influence, and I don't even know what this fact check by Lewis Hobbs means. So if this is important or not, I really don't. I don't even know who Lewis Hobbs is. Lead journalist, I guess, for sportsboom.us. But he wrote an article, says, exclusive, Maxx Crosby declares he'll never play for Raiders again, sets up offseason standoff. Again, I think this is another one of those, in my opinion, speculative, did not come from Maxx Crosby's mouth out into the media, because if so, I don't think he would have came to Clint Kubiak's press conference today like he did. So stay with me. Let's read some of this article. So the first part of this article says, we'll read from here. Crosby's representatives have begun informing high-ranking officials from other NFL teams that the All-Pro, livid over being asked to sit out the end of the regular season despite believing he was healthy enough to play, will never suit up for the Raiders again and is intent on playing elsewhere in 2026. However, those same executives, along with others involved in the market for top pass rushers, are not thoroughly convinced that the Raiders will adhere to Crosby's request and believe the team could ask for more in return for him than other clubs will be willing to part with. This is the quote. This is the most important part of this whole thing. He told Raiders owner and future Hall of Fame quarterback Tom Brady that he will never play for the Raiders again, said one NFL general manager who would have interest in trading for Crosby. Quote, that's a fact. He told them he'll retire before he ever plays for them again. But I'm not sure they're actually going to trade him. Browns pass rusher Myles Garrett said the same thing last year. We know how that ended up. Great point, by the way. Garrett got a massive new contract with the Browns. Crosby, 28, is perhaps one of the 10 most impactful players in the NFL, regardless of position, and will surely be the most accomplished player on the trade market this winter. But as one agent who represents several top free agents in the upcoming market put it, an agent who also engineered the exit of star players via trade himself in the past, the Raiders are rebuilding again, have a painfully this roster already, and are not inclined to move Crosby. It's tough to tell Tom Brady what he has to do, as the agent put it. I've done some sniffing around. I know it's early. I don't think the Raiders want to move him, but maybe I'll end up looking stupid telling you this. I don't think they move him. Okay, so there's a conflicting report of an agent saying they don't think they move him. A second general manager, there's another source, I guess. A second general manager, also aware of Crosby's trade demands, said he believes that Brady could possibly build some sort of bridge to his best player. The quote is, someone is going to offer them 2 first-round picks, but I don't think they jump at it. I think you're going to have to really knock them over. So this is massive. And Nick says, JLC is the biggest loser. Baltimore fans know this. Again, I don't know anything about him. I don't. And I cover the Lions, and I don't know anything about him. I did check his reporting before I jumped on and talked about it, and I'm just giving you guys the other side. I'm trying to be unbiased here. I want Maxx Crosby. So I think the easy thing for me to do would be to come on this show and say, this guy's reliable. Trust me, bro. Maxx Crosby's coming to Detroit. But the reality is, I don't really know. I know that to say that 2 GMs are reporting it, or at least have spoken about it, that's interesting. Doesn't make sense, again, that Maxx Crosby would go to Clint Kubiak's press conference and tell them that he's never going to play again. That part doesn't really make sense to me. So will Maxx Crosby leave the Las Vegas Raiders? I guess by the report, he indicated he wants to, but the Raiders will probably not move him. And Gary says he used to be on national network and radio. Lots do not like him. See, that's important information. I don't even know if I believe it. I really don't. And I know I gave the doc some shit last week when he was on the show. I didn't mean it intentionally. I love the doc. I trust him. I do. He's honestly not only one of the brightest guys. You could disagree with that, but I love the doc. Love having him on. I love listening to his opinions. I don't think Doc would put something in writing if it was bullshit. Now, I don't know this guy. I know the Doc personally. I don't know who JLC is. I don't. So if it is all a ploy or all some sort of, bit for Maxx Crosby, if it's true to get into contract extension and get, a raise, then that could very well be the case. I remember covering the Maxx Crosby stuff, and Maxx Crosby made a big deal out of wanting out of Cleveland. And by the way, Cleveland is a terrible place to be, and he wanted out of Cleveland. So that was believable, because it's like, okay, who wouldn't want out of Cleveland? But then he gets paid, and now he's there, and he stays. So again, for Maxx Crosby, he seems to really like Las Vegas. Las Vegas is significantly better than Cleveland when it comes to living. Okay, so, even though they haven't been the most successful franchise, it seems that with Tom Brady, they're doing some things the right way. They have the number 1 overall pick to go to quarterback. So out of all the times Max chose to leave, you'd think he would have chose to leave maybe last year. But to leave this year when, you look around the league and see Ben Johnson come to the Bears or Mike Vrabel come to the Patriots, and these teams just get good right away. Dan Quinn last year with the Washington Commanders, like teams that just get good in one season. I'm not saying the Raiders are going to do that, but I don't think the Raiders are going to be in for this long haul rebuild. I don't think necessarily they have money available. They're getting a new head coach, which I really like. He's going to put together a pretty good staff, assumingly so. And you have Maxx Crosby. Why wouldn't you want to keep him? The Raiders are going to be back, or at least be back from being number 1 overall pick. They'll be a better team than this year, which isn't saying much. But I don't think it's going to be another rebuild where they're going to be picking top 3, top 5 next year. I just don't think so, based on how the NFL works. Okay, teams win games pretty quickly in the NFL. It's why it's great. It's not like the NBA where it takes years for a team to bounce back, from sucking. It's a little different. That's why the term worst to first exists in the NFL. So I think there's a real chance that Maxx Crosby does not get traded and stays there despite the reporting. But if the Lions are serious about trying to make, significant moves or, go all in and be aggressive and find a way to make it work, then you probably should call the Raiders and just at least see what's up with Maxx Crosby. I think that's something you at least have to do. And I know we give Brad shit sometimes for at least being like, well, I checked in on this player. I couldn't get it done. He does that a lot. But the reality is you definitely should be checking in on Maxx Crosby. Why wouldn't you? You're doing your due diligence as a GM, especially for a player like Maxx Crosby, which would, make any team significantly better. Like the article put it, one of the best non-quarterback players in the entire NFL. That's just the truth. ETN says, I think the Raiders win around 7 games. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I do. If the Bears can win a division after the Matt Eberflus stuff, I know they had Caleb Williams in his second year, the number 1 overall pick, but so did the Raiders. And I don't think Mendoza's the prospect Caleb Williams was, but I think Mendoza can be a pretty good quarterback. I think he's probably, if you're looking at any quarterback in this draft, he's probably one of the guys you're more confident about. So I think the Raiders keep Crosby. I say a lot to say that. Steve Wilds, Reese Olson's out for the entire year. Yep, saw that. We'll talk about that as well. ETN, I'm pretty sure Kubiak said he talked to Crosby and that Crosby was in the facility today. See, I don't know. I don't think – I just don't think he's going to end up leaving that place. I don't. Especially, new head coach. And it's not like Pete Carroll, new head coach. Clint Kubiak, I think, will be an actual good coach. Shout out to Pete Carroll. I just think his time has passed. It's over. So – I think Clint will have a massive impact on that franchise. ETN says Bears had a better foundation than the Raiders currently do. Yeah, on offense. And and they had better players all around, but they can go out and acquire some pretty good players this offseason. But they don't have a Maxx Crosby. At least that's a good starting point. They have Ashton Gentry, Brock Bowers. If Fernando Mendoza doesn't suck year 1, I don't know. I think they can. And the Bears got their offensive line, like Xavier said, in the offseason. Who knows what the Raiders can do here? So something to pay attention to. I'll tell you what, we'll rank our defensive players for the Lions. By the way, shout out proud of Detroit because they put together this tier ranking list. It's not mine. It's Pride of Detroit's. So credit to them. I'm just stealing it. And I want to do it with you guys. It's going to be an activity we do together here. And then Boone can join and give his thoughts on it. And he can do his own along with me or critique it. But here's the ranking list. So as you can see, let me get this out the way so you guys can see it. Okay, so these are the tier lists for how we're going to rank the players. You have the top, which is solidified all-pro talent. The second one is good player, could be elite. The third one is starter. The fourth one is depth, could challenge for starter. The next one is depth, nothing more or less. The next one is developmental depth. And then the last one is time to move on. Time to move on. Get the hell out of here. Okay, that's the last one. So today we're going to go through and rank the players accordingly, and you guys are going to give me your thoughts on where guys should be ranked. These are the players that are going to be, take a look. Okay, these are the guys. These are who's up. Okay, you got Aiden, you got AQM, Anzalone, Aleem, Amik, Avante, Brian, Derek, DJ Reader, DJ Reed, Ennis Rakestraw, Jack Campbell, Josh Pascal, Kirby. Who's that? Levi Onzarike, Malcolm, Marcus Davenport. You got Roy Lopez, Taron Arnold, Thomas Harper, Tyleek Williams, Mekhi Wingo is the other one. So there's all the players. All right, so we're going to start off and rank them in order as they appear. So we're going to start with Aiden Hutchinson. I'm going to make this very easy, and I'm going to move Aiden to the solidified All-Pro talent. I think this is probably the easier one to do here. Very, very easy to do with Aiden. Okay, so Aiden's the easy one. The next one I'm going to do here is AQM. Now, my first thought with AQM is starter. You could, before this year, he was depth, could challenge for starter. I think this year he proved he can start. I don't think he's, and people are going to look at the sacks and say he is a starter, for sure starter. I don't think he can't defend the run. So, he's not an every down guy. That's where I'm kind of in between. I'm kind of struggling with this one. Production, he's a starter, but the downs played, he's not a starter. There's games where he wasn't playing that many snaps. So I'm kind of struggling with this one, if I'm being honest. It's either depth and could challenge for starter or starter. You guys decide. And because if I put him depth that could challenge for starter, it sounds like I'm disqualifying the season he had, which is not the case. It's just, it's just, how do you be a starter if you're not playing as many snaps as most starters? Yeah, I'm gonna put him. Okay, you guys have kind of made the decision for me here. I'm gonna put AQM at depth could challenge for starter. I mean, that's basically where a lot of people are saying here. I mean, AG's burner says Hutch is a what, solidified Pro Bowl? Yeah, but there's not an option for that. Good player could be elite, wouldn't be him. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson's an elite player. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave it there. So the next player we have here is Alex Anzalone. Okay, Alex Anzalone, we can do starter. Yeah, I don't think he could be elite. I don't think that's where I'd put him. I'd put him at starter. Yeah, starter for Anzalone. Okay, the next player we have is oh gosh, Aleem McNeil. Aleem McNeil. Okay, Aleem McNeil. Where are we putting Aleem McNeil at? I'm seeing I would probably put Aleem, to be honest. He was at one point, it was good player, could be elite. Last year, he took a significant step back. And yeah, people are agreeing with me on this one. I'm just gonna put him at starter. I mean, I can't say he's a good player, could be elite. I just can't do it. I can't do it, man. I can't do it. Yeah, and you guys are all saying starter too. Okay, so yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. I mean, depth. I don't want to say depth could challenge for starter. He's a starter. Is he a great starter? Could be elite starter. He's a. I don't know about that. He was a top 10. He was graded in the top 10 on PFF the year prior. So it's like that. You have that argument. I think based off last year, he's down at starter. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. He's got a lot of expectations this year. The next player we're going to do is Amik Robertson. And to me, I'm going to put Amik depth could challenge for starter. Is that too high, or is it depth nothing less or more, or nothing more or less? I think challenge for starter. Yeah, that's a good point, though. That's a good point. That's a good point by Michael, though. Michael just said, well, AQM played better than Aleem. So, yeah, but at least Aleem you could play. A starter to me, and I think the snaps are important. I know he played better. I think AQM could challenge for starter at some places, but I don't know if he'll play all the snaps to be considered a starter. That's where I'm at with it. I know I see a lot of starters by Aleem. I'm just going to default to that. I really am. I'm just going to default to starter. I know it's yeah. All right. Amik, you guys like Amika here, so I'm not going to make too many changes. That's fine. I would say I'll say this, AQM's probably top of this. Like, he's better than any player that's probably going to be here. He's number one on this little tier list. I'll have the depth could challenge for starter. Let's see. Ooh, Maddox. I'm just going to do depth, nothing more or less. That's where I'm going to put Maddox. I think that's where he is right now. That's where I think he is. Let me see what you guys think of that. Yeah, Aaron says he had 11. I get the sacks. I understand it. You know what I'm interested in with AQM? Like, think about it like this. Think of it like this, guys. Would we consider James Houston in Detroit a starter? Because James Houston had 9 sacks. But I don't know if I would look at him as a starter. Does that make sense? I know the production, guys. I understand it, but does that make sense? Like, I don't think you would look at James Houston in Detroit and be like, that guy's a starter. You'd be like, he's just a weapon who they can use on third down. That's how I'm looking at it. Like, if you say James Houston's a starter, then there you go. That's your opinion. Aaron, the editor, says this is not a good argument. AQM can stop the run. Okay, so he actually, to be honest with you, he really is not a good run defender. I mean, that's proven because he doesn't play. I mean, that's why they had Davenport. That's why they had Lacey playing at that edge spot. I mean, you fell apart against the run, number one, late in the year. And that was with AQM out there as well at times. So I don't think you can say he plays the run. He's a very good pass rusher. But before this year, AQM was never a starter. So that's where I'm at with it. You guys can disagree with it, but that's where I'm at with it. He's just a pass rushing like this comment. Rich says, AQM is an edge rushing specialist. All right. It's okay. I knew that one would probably be the most controversial. The next player is Brian Branch. Brian Branch to me is this right here. Good player, could be elite. That's like where I'm at with Brian Branch. I don't have to think too much about it. So I think you guys would agree with that. All right. The next player is Derek Barnes. I mean, we got to go starter, right? I mean, for D Barnes. I think D Barnes starter. I mean, he started, so I don't think you can really say like challenge for starter. He started and played that Sam linebacker spot. They ran 3 linebackers, so he played. He was a starter. Unless you guys think he's not good enough to be a starter, which I honestly, I mean, he technically is a starter. He is a starter. Yeah, they're not going to like that one. They're not going to like that one. Yeah, unfortunately, starter. Yeah, no, I think he's a starter. You got to put him at starter. I think you could put well, here, Boone, you want to help me with these? Yeah, let's go. Hey, what up, Boone? How you doing?
What's up? How are you doing?
Hey, by the way, what do you think about my list? Just tell me honestly, because I'm struggling with a couple of these. Like, what do you think? Would you change any of these? I'm getting a lot of shit on the AQM one. Is it like?
I think AQM. I mean, I think it's depth. Like, he's not a starter.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if people are wanting him lower or higher. I think that's like the perfect spot for him.
They wanted him higher. They wanted him at starter. Some people.
No, why? Like, people were mad how bad he was playing when he was a starter this year. Okay. So what do we? You know what I mean? Like, I real quick apologize to the people for being late. I will be a little late the next 2 days as well. So getting ahead of this. So people are like, Booner. I'm just getting ahead of it. That's all. I'm just, you know what I mean? I have 2 more days if I'm going to be a little late. So either deal with it, you know. And by the way, too, Jeff, I know we have this list to make because I'm confident. Justin Verlander is a Detroit Tiger. That is like the greatest thing of all time, dude.
It's amazing. I know
Like,
we'll talk about it.
JV is back, dude. That's unbelievable. I'm excited to talk. That's all I've been thinking about all day is Justin Verlander. That's the only thing that's been on my mind. So
Here,
I can't wait to talk about it.
Help me rank. So we got DJ Reader next.
Starter.
Bang.
Yep.
DJ Reed. Starter.
Yeah, starter for sure.
Ennis Rakestraw.
Development.
Or time to move on.
I would say development. I think if he gets healthy, I think I think the talent's there with Ennis. It's just he's just never healthy. So it's like it's not like you're paying him a contract. If you were paying him a massive deal, I would be like, move on. Like it's bye. He's on a rookie deal. Like he needs to figure this thing out though. He needs to stay healthy.
Yeah, you just don't really see him. And then Jack Campbell is the other player I would put
all pro.
Here. Yeah.
All pro.
He's an all pro now. Josh Pascal, time to move on.
No. What? No. What are you talking about? He's going to be on the Lions next year. That's depth. He's right there with Devontae Maddox. My opinion.
Depth.
Again, Josh Pascal can stop the run. I think a lot of people have a bad perception with him and Levi O. They're not bad players. But they're not like solidified starters in the NFL, in my opinion.
No. Yeah, you can do that. That's fine. You
have him at like $1 million, and he might not even have a cap hit this year. Move on from what? There's no price. He's a piece that's like reliable, like kind of reliable.
Well, maybe staying healthy not as reliable, but
again, it falls into that context of you do need depth players on this team. Just because you don't like a guy doesn't mean he should be off the team. That's how I look at it.
All right, that's fine. I would move on from his ass, but I respect it. As depth, that's fine.
He has 1 year left on his deal. It's like, what are you going to move on from? Like, what's going to happen? You know?
So they will move on eventually.
Yeah, but that's next year. This is this year, right? Kirby's all pro.
Yeah, he's
Kirby.
there.
Yeah, Kirby, come on now.
I'm assuming you want him as depth.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot. I almost would put. No, I won't do it. Yeah, I know you guys.
Challenge for starter.
I was, but I won't do it. I won't do it.
Malcolm Rodriguez.
Depth.
Okay. Yeah, you. Marcus Davenport.
Time to move on. Yeah, thank you.
He could stop the run though. Hey, come on.
No, he's time to move on.
Developmental.
Yeah, I love Mackay. I've said it before. He follows all of us, every single one of us. I think he's watched the show. He just kept being a healthy scratch this year, and it was concerning, dude. Like it was actually like, why is Mackay Wingo a healthy scratch in year 2? Like I don't know. It was very weird.
Well, the next player is Roy. I think Roy would go here, challenge for starter.
Spot on.
Yeah, he's like a borderline starter. TA
starter. Yeah, starter,
and then Thomas Harper. I think he's like.
I think one down. Yeah, I think one down. No, one more. My opinion, he'd be one more down, and I would put him in front of Avante. I would put him at the top front of that line.
Yeah, this just feels disrespectful to have Thomas Harper here.
But like, is Thomas Harper a starter? Everyone was hurt.
He's not a starter, but he could challenge to be a starter. That's what. Because
I don't know. Our chat's broken on our end. I can't see it.
Well, I have the other tab open.
Oh, it just started pop.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. I think out of all these players, this guy actually produced. Like it actually started and was pretty solid.
I say like my vote would be put him at the front of that list.
Well, we're not doing them in order, but we can do it that way.
Yeah, usually we do. So I would like if we were, I would put him at the front.
All right, I'd put him at depth that could challenge for starter, and then Tyleek I would put as like right now. I would put him here, like depth right now. He ain't challenging no starter right now, dude. He is not.
What?
Did you watch him last year? You think he's challenging?
He was better than Aleem McNeil, basically. And you have Aleem where as a starter?
Dude,
he had like the same exact season as Aleem
you think
McNeil.
Tyleek has the same impact pretty much as Josh?
No, but you have Aleem McNeil as a starter. He basically gave you the same as Aleem, and you have him as depth and nothing more.
Yeah,
he can challenge for Aleem's spot.
Aleem has at least played at a top 10 level. Like,
yeah, but like there's no way Tyleek, like you're putting a first round pick as no more than a depth piece
right now. We're talking about right now.
You don't think in his year 2 with his talent that he can't challenge to be a starter in year 2?
Right now. So
going into year 2,
these players or not? Are we projecting?
This is going into year 2. This isn't like
we're projecting.
I would put
so TA could be this actually.
No, it's not projecting, but that one says hold on, no, Jeff, stop. That one says could challenge for starter.
He dude, this year
it's not what TA could challenge to be elite. Like,
well, I don't know.
That's insane that you have to. I'm not gonna. I want this like on record. In the court of law, I do not want Tyleek in that spot. No, put him down.
I'm just surprised that you put him over Thomas Harper, who started. Dude, to say he can't challenge for a starter.
Thomas, what are we talking about?
Did you watch Thomas Harper last year?
Yeah, he had some good games, but you're acting like Thomas Harper is going to be like a starter in this league for a long. He's going to be good.
He's going to be.
Tyleek's a first round pick.
What does that have to do with anything?
I mean, he had a year like he was getting going a little bit. He was learning. He played.
Thomas Harper's in year 2 or 3. He's in year 3.
Exactly. He's in year 3. Tyleek's in year 1, and he has a higher ceiling as when it comes to talent than Thomas Harper. No offense to Thomas Harper. I think Thomas Harper was good when he played. But if we're talking about like talent, if we're talking about talent season, yeah, because he's in year 3. Tyleek was a rookie, dude. Dude, that's one of the crazy. You arguing Thomas Harper should be higher on this list than Tyleek is crazy.
No, I'm saying if you're going to say challenge for starter, then you got to put Thomas Harper there, who produced and was a starter. Like it's not like he was incapable. Tyleek was a role player.
No, he's not incapable. He's a solid role player that steps in when a guy gets hurt. You're acting like because he had like 4. He had like 4. No, dude, no, it's not. He's a backup. That's like Ife Melifonwu was never going to be a starter on your team, but when someone goes down, he's going to be a starter on your team. That's Thomas Harper, dude.
He was capable when he played, at least with the Lions.
I can't have this argument right now. You're never going to understand what I'm saying. I can't believe this.
No, I'm not going to understand what you're saying. Tyleek was like a rotational dude last year with like 4 guys. And I like, that's fine though. I mean, if you want to go projection, that's fine. He'll probably be
like,
better.
Dude, there's just no way in the world where it's like you're at like your only argument is Thomas Harper challenged for a spot because your top 2 safeties got hurt. If Thomas Harper was like on a different team that actually
be a capable starter, which by the way, that's the category.
How like he was solid. Like it wasn't like dude, I don't know.
That's what that
so
means.
You think if Thomas Harper Thomas Harper went to a team that didn't have safeties. So like this next year with Kirby and Brian Branch, you think Thomas Harper's the starting safety?
What is that? Booner,
I think he's good. He's not better than Tyleek.
You know that's could he take Brian Branch's spot?
Let's put a poll in the chat. Who's better and has a higher ceiling? Tyleek Williams or Thomas Harper?
It's not about higher ceiling, bro. The question is could challenge for a starter. Like Thomas Harper started the entire year he was there and was fine. He's not Kirby or Brian, but he's a capable starter. Tyleek has not shown you anything to be a starter, bro.
He's literally shown you as much as Aleem did this last year.
Aleem was played at
you have Aleem as a starter, and he's shown you like
played at a top 10 level the year prior at least. I mean, he at least showed he could be a starter. Maybe he was ass last year.
Challenge like, dude, Tyleek has the talent. I don't know why that would like. That's insane that you want to put him as nothing more than depth.
I saw was not a lot of talent. He was fine.
You were about to put Tyleek Williams on the same level as Josh Pascal and Levi Onwuzurike. That's crazy, dude.
Right now,
that's nuts, bro.
He hasn't proven that he can be a starter.
I can't believe I walked into this.
Well, no, not me.
Dude, Jesus, what are you doing to me today on this beautiful Tuesday?
This is your list, though, Boone, partially because I would put Josh and Levi in time to move on. I'm done with their ass. And I would put.
So yeah, you want to get rid of guys, get rid of depth.
Yeah, go get depth.
depth.
Get depth anywhere. Like
for $1 million.
I would find better than
You
Josh
could find a guy better than Levi and Josh Pascal for $1 million. No.
Weren't you on the same page of getting rid of them and moving
on? A week ago, dude, I will go back and clip me and you talking about those two a week ago, and you were like, I agree with you, Booner. It's actually good to have those contracts with those guys.
There's a difference between that being stuck with them or having a choice in moving on or not. Like, they're here. Nothing you can do about it. If it was me, I'd cut them still. I would still cut them. It's $1 million and $4 million. Just get rid of them. But yeah, they're here. But come on, in your opinion, Boone, you would keep them regardless, even if they're like coming back on some bullshit ass CBA agreement. You would still want to keep them.
I would keep one of them, probably.
So you would time to move on for one of them, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I just don't know which one. It would be kind of Brad's flavor. Like, wait, do you like the run stopper? Or do you like a guy that's gonna? I just can't believe, like, dude, like Thomas Harper's a backup safety on the Lions. He's not challenging for Brian Branch.
I would never say that. Then, Booner, bro, you're smarter than that.
That's my point. Is he's not challenging for any starting spot. Tyreek easily next year. If DJ Reader doesn't get signed, if DJ Reader does not get re-signed, Tyreek is challenging for a starting spot. That's a fact.
We're talking about not depth, like who's on the Lions at safety. I'm talking about as a player. Like he's he could challenge, be a starter. He's that type of player. Maybe not on the Lions with Kirby and Bryant, but he's a good player. Like Tyreek, yeah, because DJ Readers are going to be gone, so you're just going to have to slot him in there.
You know what? According to the chat, you're always right. Let's just move on from this.
Oh,
it was a joke.
I was going to say
that wasn't serious.
Maybe Roy Lopez might start.
I agree. That's why I said, where do we have Roy?
Roy's could challenge for starter.
Exactly. Thank you.
And Roy's better than Tyreek. Roy had. I think
Tyreek and Roy are in the same. I think Roy was better this year, but I think talent ceiling wise.
Oh, now we're going ceiling. See, it's not the.
That's where it's like you could challenge because next year, like I expect Tyreek to take a jump next year.
Well, then TA. What are we doing with TA? That's why it didn't make sense. Like put TA in the fucking. If you think it's ceiling, he's got a high ceiling. TA could be elite category.
Yeah, but again, TA is going into year 3, and he's just been a starter. Like there's.
Well, he was injured last year and showed more. I don't know, man. Tylee's got to show me, bro. This guy
he's in year 1.
He hasn't earned nothing, dude. And first round picks. That's why. In year 1, yeah, but rookies come in year 1 all the time and look good, like in the first round. Why do we have to wait on him? So he's the developmental player, is what you're saying, Tyreek. I hope he comes up this year in balls, or else I will be at that point. You got to start having some real conversations. Honestly, all right. Well, we can get to the NFC quarterback list from Chris Canty. All right, Chris Canty on what? This is first take.
First take.
Canty. By the way, this is Klotz's guy, Chris Canty. This is his guy.
Of course, dude.
And he gave his top 5 NFC quarterbacks this season. I can't play the clip, but I'll show you the top 5 graphic he had. And we can react to that. Like, okay, Chris Canty went through his top 5 NFC quarterbacks. And here's his list. Number 1, he has Matthew Stafford. Number 2, or not number 2, I guess it's just top 5. Oh, yeah, no, it's number 2. Jaden Daniels, number 2. Number 3, Sam Darnold. Number 4, Jalen Hurts. And number 5, Caleb Williams. That's his top 5. Jaden Daniels, who was hurt last year. Sam Darnold, who game managed his way to a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, which, by the way, I don't actually hate that one. Caleb Williams, I don't mind if you want to argue that. And Matthew, I don't argue. But, like, what are we doing? What are we doing with this Chris Canty? Chris Canty, man. I mean, this is terrible.
I'm going to say this, and I don't want any hate from this. I really don't. I am not familiar with Chris Canty. All I know is I heard him say at the beginning of this segment, Super Bowl champion. Should I know who Chris Canty is?
Yeah, I guess he played in the NFL for a while. Let me see. Played with Dallas, the Giants, Ravens. I mean, he wasn't a super productive player, so I'm not saying.
Okay, so that might be why then.
Maybe that's not why. You won a Super Bowl, with the Ravens, I think, or the Giants. I don't know which one. Actually, I have to Google that. But anyway, yeah, it doesn't really matter. But the top 5 quarterback list, he played defensive end in the NFL. I could see why. And I know probably they should know quarterbacks. To have Sam Darnold in your top 5 after winning a Super Bowl, like is the most recency bias thing I've ever seen. That's just my opinion. It's very recency bias. But then it contradicts the recency bias with Jane Daniels, who didn't play all year. So there's another, like, that's contradicting. And then Jalen Hurts didn't even look good this year. So, like, that's also contradicting. So you have, like, recency bias mixed in with, like, 2 years ago guys, mixed in with Caleb, who had a really good year, mixed in with Stafford, who won MVP. That's just, like, a terribly disorganized list. And to me, that was all for clicks instead of actual analysis. Like, that's terrible. That was absolutely terrible.
I can't, I don't know. I can't get wrap my head around. I think Caleb Williams was good this year, Jeff, and he did win the NFC North, and Ben Johnson had him playing at a high level, but a lot of people make the argument, like, this is my thing, and people are going to take this the wrong way. And Chris Canty, like, I'm like right there with you, Jeff. This is just a, hey, I want to get clicks. So I'm going to throw Sam Darnold just won a Super Bowl. I'm going to throw it out there just so to get clicks. And, I like Jaden Daniels. I prefer Jaden Daniels as a player, so I'm going to throw him at 2. And he's not the second best quarterback right now in the NFC. He's just not. He's been injured multiple times. Jalen Hurts, you can argue, like, yeah, because he won a Super Bowl. But, like, if we're just going to start grading players off winning Super Bowls, then, like, Nick Foles, one of the greatest of all time. Like, we can start going down the list of quarterbacks that it's like, hey, these guys are good just because they want to. That doesn't mean anything. Like, most of these guys on this list, Jared Goff, like, what Ryan Clark said the other day is spot on. There are 8 or 9 quarterbacks in the NFC that you can throw on that Seahawks team and they win the Super Bowl. And some of them might win the Super Bowl by 30 with the defense that the Seahawks had. By 30. And this is where people are going to be a little like Chris Canty. This is the disrespect of Jared Goff. The disrespect of Jared Goff. Because I'm going to pull I'm going to bring up Flannel. We got Flannel coming on today. I got stats. Are you ready for this, Jeff? Jared Goff, second in the NFL in the last 2 seasons in passing yards, only behind Matthew Stafford. Sam Darnold, who we had top 5 there, third in the NFL over the last 2 seasons. Caleb Williams, 8th in the NFL. Jalen Hurts, 16th in the NFL in passing yards. Jaden Daniels, Jeff, 27th in the last 2 seasons in the NFL in passing yards. Passing touchdowns. Matthew Stafford, number 1, where he should be on that list. The only thing he got right about that list. But guess who's number 2? Jared Goff with 72. Mind you, this is all including playoffs, not just regular season. This is including playoffs. Jared Goff, number 2 in passing touchdowns over the last 2 seasons. Sam Darnold comes in at number 4 behind Jared Goff. Caleb Williams, your guy, Jeff, the guy he had at number 5, 13th in the NFL over the last 2 seasons. Jalen Hurts was on that list, 15th. And Jaden Daniels, back of the NFL at 23rd. And you're like, well, Jared Goff turns the ball. Sam Darnold, who we had on this list, Jeff, over the last 2 seasons, had the most turnovers out of any quarterback. 36 turnovers combined, fumbles and interceptions out of any quarterback in the National Football League over the last 2 seasons. I'll respect Sam Darnold for winning the games and being a great game manager and winning the Super Bowl and doing what he did, but let's not act like he has everything around, like he doesn't have everything around him that's perfect. He has one of the best defenses that we've ever seen. That defense was insane.
Mm-hmm.
Insane. If you give Jared Goff that defense, I guarantee you Jared Goff goes and wins a Super Bowl in Detroit with what he has. So like the top 5 list, Caleb, like, you can't respect these lists if a guy who has been like, and like these stats I gave out, like these aren't ranked in the NFC. These are NFL stats where Jared Goff is second in the NFL in passing yards, second in passing touchdowns, top 5 in wins. And you got Sam Darnold on the list who has 36 total turnovers, the most out of any quarterback. It's disrespectful. It is. These lists are some of the most disrespectful lists of all time. Like people like, and shout out Flannel, he's probably watching, he does it, but Flannel like had the argument with me about Jalen Hurts should be in the MVP conversation this year because he won a Super Bowl last year. Like, it's the dumbest conversations of all time. When a quarterback wins a Super Bowl, when he's on an elite team, he gets all this credit in the world. Like, oh, he's a top 5 player all of a sudden. Like, I'll tell you what, I'll be quite honest. If Jared Goff wins a Super Bowl in Detroit, I'm not going to say he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL the next week. He's what he is. He's a top 5 quarterback in the NFC, but he is what he is. He's not a top 5 quarterback in the entire NFL, even if he wins a Super Bowl. We know what he is.
It's not like he made a statement in that Super Bowl and had 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, it was I don't think Sam Darnold's like there was 2 quarterbacks that weren't even on that list. Is he better than Goff? No. Is he better than Dak Prescott? No. I think Dak Prescott's a better player than Sam Darnold. And Dak gets a lot of shit, but we're talking about better quarterback, not, who's had more playoff success. Because then you got to put Darnold over pretty much everyone not named Stafford and Jalen Hurts. But no, we're going better quarterback, which no, he's not better than Dak Prescott. I mean, no. I don't think Sam Darnold's better than Goff. I think my top 5 quarterbacks, and you could put the order however you want. It doesn't really matter to me. I would go Stafford, Goff, Dak, Caleb, and Jaden Daniels. No order. Those are my 5. Like, if you want to argue Baker for that 5 spot, if you want to argue Jalen Hurts, if you want to argue, trying to think of anyone else in the NFC, I'm probably missing someone obvious, but those are my 5 guys. Like, I think Jaden and Caleb are in there. I don't think Jaden's number 2, but Dak, Goff, and Stafford have to be in there. Those 3 guys threw for over 30 plus TDs, 4,000 plus yards, and they've done it every year. So, like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see a top 5 list if those 3 are not in there. It's ridiculous. And like Goff doesn't get enough respect anyway, because I mean, statistically, he's top of the league in most categories. I mean, Jordan Love, another one, if you want to argue him in there as well. But yeah, Goff's in there, and he's up there in statistical categories, like you said, the last 2 years, and it's just not enough. I don't know what more he can actually do to be in these types of conversations. I really do.
It's one of those things with Jared Goff where people I've seen in the chat are like, well, he has every single weapon around him. He has the most weapons in the NFL. What do you want him to do? Like, he does everything he can with what he has around him, right? Like, they have one of the best offenses in the NFL ran through him. And so what else? Like, what other credentials does he need outside of obviously winning a Super Bowl? He was an MVP candidate last year. That's not top 5 in the NFL or in the NFC. That's top 5 in the NFL. And it's like, yeah, you want to win a Super Bowl? Okay, why don't we stop pointing fingers at Jared Goff to win a Super Bowl and actually be like, hey, yeah, no, maybe he is a top 5 quarterback in the NFC, and actually like notice that in the moment and be like, hey, maybe they should get him a defense. Maybe they should get him a Seattle Seahawks defense or anything even close to that, and they probably win a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
And that's where it's like you look at it and you go like, okay, there's all these takes about quarterbacks in the NFC that's going around because Sam Darnold's won a Super Bowl. Like, yeah, Sam Darnold had a good year. Was he even an MVP candidate? No, like he wasn't. That's the quarterback of a Super Bowl winning team. He wasn't even in the MVP conversation.
JSN got more votes.
And all of a sudden, he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFC. He's the 3rd best quarterback in the NFC. The man didn't even get an MVP consideration. Jared Goff last year was a finalist for the MVP. It's really disrespectful that people are just constantly now are like, oh, Sam Darnold won a Super Bowl. Did Sam Darnold lead this team fully? Yeah, he played quarterback. I mean, Kenneth Walker led that game. That defense, Ernest Jones went out there. Like, Leonard Williams. They have a list of defensive guys there that, like, and to Matt N's point, he didn't even win Super Bowl MVP, man. Yeah. And I know that was a big argument last year when Jalen Hurts was, he won a Super Bowl MVP. Sam Darnold didn't even come close to winning Super Bowl MVP. Didn't even come close. And he did I'll give him credit. He had a great game in the NFC Championship game that took them to the Super Bowl. We'll respect that. But think about earlier in the year when they played the Rams. 4 turnovers in that one game. The man had like 15 interceptions this year. Imagine if Jared Goff did that.
Oh, he'd be
he has the most turnovers in the NFL in the last 2 seasons. Look what he did last year in Minnesota.
He had a game against the Commanders. Jared Goff turned the ball over, and no one will stop talking about it because it was a playoff game. I get that, but Darnold's been doing that the last 2 years. I mean, he's just been having games where he turns the ball over.
Darnold got put in a good position in Seattle this year with an elite defense, and that defense outside of the NFC Championship game, which, mind you, by the way, too, Jeff, you want to know something crazy? Jared Goff was playing good in the NFC Championship game versus the San Francisco 49ers.
He played well the whole playoffs, put up numbers.
Imagine that year if the way Jared Goff was playing in that playoffs, if he had the Seattle Seahawks defense. The Lions would be a Super Bowl champion that year. They would have won the Super Bowl. So it's like, put some things into perspective a little bit. Look what Jared Goff did with what he had 2 years ago. And look what Sam Darnold did with the team that he had. Like, dude, I'm not sitting here fighting to like Jared Goff's the best in the league, but man, can we show the guy some respect for the way he's done over the last 2 or 3 seasons in Detroit? Instead of this recency bias stuff like, oh, Caleb Williams just went to the playoffs. What are we doing, man? I don't even know. What's his name again? I'm sorry.
Chris Canty.
Chris Canty probably doesn't even know who Jared Goff is.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not someone that is seeking out Chris Canty takes. Okay. I know Klotz maybe. Not a fan of Chris Canty. That's fine. He's got a job and he gets paid. So someone's interested in him. I'm not really interested in Chris Canty takes. I mean, this just shows that I think there's maybe another motive to making these lists. That list was ass. It was terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I do want your thoughts on Doc's new article. That causes some waves in the Lions' sphere. I mean, he has another sources saying article.
I texted him to try and get the source.
He's cooking. Doc's been on one the last 2 weeks. So he's been cooking with sources, putting out the content, which you guys can check out Lions on SI. We talked about his Maxx Crosby article last week, had him on. He broke it down for us. Now he has another article, which basically indicates that a NFL exec or NFL execs predict Dave Montgomery will be shopped at the NFL Combine, which that is a whole nother thing, but let's get to it. It says annually the league descends upon downtown Indianapolis, which will be there, by the way, to gather and learn much more about NFL draft prospects. Also, a significant amount of discussions between general managers occur regarding players available to be dealt in general draft talk. Remember, we were down there when Myles Garrett was being quote shopped, and Andrew Berry was a busy man that week, but he didn't end up shopping him. Also, a vast majority of agents attend the Combine, and there is an opportunity to network and discuss important matters with several teams. It is quite normal for teams to meet with their agents or meet with agents of their own prospective free agents during the Combine. A pair of NFC execs shared with Lions on SI the expectation among the league is that Montgomery will be a player that will garner a significant amount of attention from many teams. With his experience and ability to break tackles, several teams could be interested in trading for his services. Detroit will learn much more about Montgomery's trade value in the next couple of weeks. One exec said, "This is now Jahmyr Gibbs' team, and that offense is not going to limit his carries. I expect Brad Holmes to have many conversations in Indianapolis about trading Montgomery." Here we go. This is what I want to point out, by the way. Detroit has not had any conversations yet with teams about the 28-year-old, but Holmes understands the frustration Monty felt having his touches and carries reduced in 2025. Another executive shared that running back Sione Vaki is a player who could be in line for an expanded role in Detroit's offense. A source with knowledge of the Lions' plans indicates the team is still very high on Vaki. Given his injury history, the team is hoping his offseason regime nets added strength and durability to be able to slide in a backup role. Let me just get this. Okay. There's so much to say with this article, by the way.
So much, dude.
I just want to say this. Am I lagging? Am I back? Okay.
You're good.
If this is, let's just operate on the assumption Sione Vaki is going to be the backup running back. You're telling me the guy who averages 2.6 yards a carry in his career has considerations to be the backup of the Detroit Lions? That's the guy we're talking about. Sione Vaki reportedly has interest, or at least is around the league. They're acknowledging the fact that Sione Vaki could be the backup for the Lions next season if they trade Montgomery. Get the hell out of here. He's got 18 yards in 2 seasons. 7 carries for 18 yards, 2.6 yards per carry. He was drafted in the 4th round as a safety, switched to running back, and is struggling to stay healthy. Get the hell out of here. That is the most ridiculous take. And I know the Lions haven't come out and said, like Brad Holmes ain't saying we're shopping him. Yeah. And I know that's more of an assumption from like some NFL execs. Like, I think they're going to shop him at the combine, which is fair. You know, a lot of things happen there. So I'm sure Brad will talk to GMs. You're going to save a couple $1,000,000, bro. You're going to save a couple $1,000,000 to get rid of a top 12 running back in the league who was clearly the better player over Jahmyr Gibbs down the stretch for Sione Vaki. 2.6 yards a carry, Sione Vaki. Get the hell out of here, man. That's ridiculous.
It is. It really is. I think the thing with this article, shout out to Doc, the way I take it is like execs aren't like, hey, I've heard from the lot. Like, how do I say this in the best way? I think the executives that might have told the Doc and the Lions on SI are more so saying we would expect that there's a chance that David Montgomery is going to be a conversation. I don't think this is something where the Lions are putting out there or people are going out there and like, hey, we've already heard these conversations with the Lions. I wouldn't be shocked if these conversations that he's talking about, Jeff, where these execs are all like, oh, we expect it to happen. And then they go to talk to Brad Holmes and Brad just shuts it down and is like, no, like David's not on the block. That's how I would look at it. Like if I was the GM of the Detroit Lions and Brad Holmes and people like Andrew Barr, all these different guys start coming up to me at the combine and they're like, hey, D-Mont, we know you're running into this. I would just be like, shut it down instantly. So I don't think this is something where the Lions have put it out. This isn't something where like the Lions are like, hey, we're going to go to the combine and shop around. This is something where an executive essentially was like, hey, this is a player. Like I'm sure the Doc, when he spoke with the executive, hey, asked like thoughts on anything with the Lions. What about David Montgomery? Maybe the Doc asked a specific question about D-Mont. And it got back where it was like, oh yeah, D-Mont, like that's definitely a player that potentially could be talked about because of his contract and the what's happened this last year. But I don't think it was something where people are going out of their way being like, hey, everyone in the NFL, the combine, David Montgomery week, here we go. I don't see that. And I don't see the Lions fully relying on Sione Vaki, like a guy who every time he became healthy this last year, Jeff, he got injured. Every time.
It'd
be irresponsible.
Let me just make this very clear. Okay. Make this very clear. Let me talk to the people for a second. Make this very clear. Brad Holmes, if you're listening, I hope you are. If you decide, Brad Holmes, to get rid of David Montgomery this offseason, it will be one of the worst decisions you have ever made as a general manager. Yes, a bigger mess up than Broderick Martin, a bigger mess up than Hendon Hooker. If you choose to get rid of a guy like David Montgomery for a couple $1,000,000, the same guy who averaged 5 yards a carry down the stretch last 6 games of the year, and you're going to roll with Jahmyr Gibbs, who's an incredible player, don't get me wrong, but in that same role as a heavy starter, got all the starter carries, averaged a little over 3 a carry. I get it's the O-line, but Monty was the only thing keeping him alive in the run game down the stretch, and you didn't even give him the ball. So that's of course, on Dan Campbell. So it would be one of the worst decisions Brad Holmes has made from a personnel standpoint if you decide to shop him for a couple $1,000,000. That's ridiculous to me. A couple $1,000,000 for
it's not worth it, dude.
Yeah.
It's irresponsible to be like, let's rely on Sione Vaki, who you've seen nothing out of. Now, if you've seen something out of that, he was always healthy and he's ready to go. But outside of that, it just doesn't feel. Feels like
I'm not inciting. What isn't it like you get in trouble for that if you like start a riot? I'm not starting a riot.
Don't say it, Jeff.
But I'm not trying to start a riot.
Don't say it, Jeff.
I would be down at Ford Field.
Oh, we could start what was the?
We would have everyone bring a Monty jersey. We would start a freaking protest outside of Ford Field if they choose to shop this man for a couple $1,000,000. What are you even getting for that, dude? You know what you got for a couple $1,000,000 this year? Josh Paschal, Levi Onwuzurike, Are any of those guys top 12 at their position? Hell no.
I think, and we can ask the doc tomorrow. I text the doc. When I text him like, hey, like, what execs like? And I said off the record, and he just like he texted me back once, and then he just stopped texting me. Unless he texted me, I didn't respond.
What if he was like Howie Roseman?
Oh, that'd be funny. Yeah, I texted him back all caps. I said, "Who are the NFL execs?" He said, "High level," and then I text back and said, in all caps, "Off record." Like, tell me, and he just never responded. This isn't me being I just think the conversation that Doc might have had with the execs is where maybe the Doc said, hey, what's going to happen with D-Mont? Do you know, like at the combine, is this going to be something? And they were like, yeah, obviously, like it's an obvious. He wasn't happy this year. Everyone knows that. A lot of conversation. Yeah, and there's a lot of conversations about that in the offseason. It's one of the more, talked about conversations when it comes in the running back market is David Montgomery. But I would have to think a smart move by the Lions would be to keep him in your building and roll with him and have that running back duo. And if you really think Sione Vaki is that guy, maybe, again, that turns into another bad evaluation because he has shown nothing from you. He hasn't shown you anything to where you can be like, oh, that's your next D-Mont.
Yeah. No, you're right. You are right. By the way, I'm going to get to Sleeper. We have I'm going to tell you guys about our friends over at Sleeper, proud sponsor of Crunch Time Sports. We're going to have Flannel on. We have the Verlander stuff, Reese Olson, Tigers baseball after Flannel. We'll talk it with Flannel as well. So we'll see you guys after a quick word from our sponsor. I've interrupted the video to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper in the new promotion they have going on. A brand new promotion is now live on Sleeper that could be paired with the 100% deposit match promotion that's already been going on. It's a free $20, no deposit required, plus first-time users will also receive 100% deposit match up to $100. Use the code CT Sports. You guys should already be using Sleeper. It's one of the fastest organically growing fantasy platforms in the entire world with millions and millions of active users. They are crushing it. And if your state allows it, you should be using Sleeper Picks. It's a real money product that connects friends over picks. You just choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame live or across different sports. Pick more or less than the predicted stats. And on Sleeper, you can get up to 1,000x payouts. Share with your friends. Get rewarded together. Don't forget, code CT Sports. Get a $100 deposit up to $100, and you got your free $20 entry. Sleeper is taking care of their customers. Always remember, gamble responsibly. Now let's get back to the video. Let's bring on our good friend, the man they call Flannel Sam. The man that was at the watch party for the Super Bowl hanging out with us, which you guys, if you tuned into that, we appreciate you. Got to see the boys watch the Seahawks beat the Patriots. Flannel was there, and Flannel's here today to talk about a bunch of different things. Please welcome to the show the former co-host of the Morning Woodward Show and Wake Up Woodward, and now he's doing amazing things over at Crunch Time Sports. Guys, just moving up the charts again. Flannel Sam, how we doing, Flannel?
I'm great. Things really move fast in the sports world, even in the last 24 hours or so. I'll say this, it's going to be a really fun, I think, calendar year of 2026 with a lot of fun and excitement in Detroit sports. I'm not going to promise anybody's going to win a championship. There's going to be a lot of meaningful sports being played. I'll just say that.
I mean, you got to see the big game on Sunday, Flannel. I'm going to ask you about we're going to ask you about the Tigers, but I do want to get your thoughts on the Super Bowl and just what you took away from it. We talked a lot on the show, but me and Booner went through it yesterday, and just looked at that Seahawks defense, and we looked at we talked a lot about different things the Lions can take away. Number one, you can win with Jared Goff. Number two, you need a defense, which has always been the case. I've been talking about it for years. It's getting repetitive. And then the other thing is coaching. Mike McDonald is doing one of the best. You call them the Sean McVay on the defensive side, which is honestly spot on. And then you have Clint Kubiak. So all these things kind of come into play, and they win a Super Bowl. What did you take away from it, Flannel? What were some things you learned watching the Super Bowl, watching the Seahawks hold the trophy up?
Well, with the Seahawks, when you really watched the Super Bowl, the playoffs, and even the regular season, you saw that they were the number one in the NFL in points allowed per game. And in the playoffs, they were able to hold this, albeit a pretty injury-riddled 49ers team to just 6 points, but then had one of the most defensively dominant Super Bowls I think any of us have ever seen. And when you watch this Seahawks team, and I mean no disrespect to a guy like Ernest Jones, who's a phenomenal player, is their best linebacker, obviously, but it strikes me, and I think you guys will agree, just how many good players that the Seahawks have on that D-line and in that secondary. There's, the stars like Devon Witherspoon in the secondary, and Leonard Williams was an all-pro on the defensive line. But the way that the Seahawks front office was able to pick up in all different ways, all these different players just since 2022 that were contributing greatly to this team this year. You got Uchenna Nwosu on the D-line. Was an offseason signing prior to 2022. He had 7 sacks in the regular season, and then what is now considered a pick 6, that what looked like that Devon Witherspoon fumble 6 in the Super Bowl. You had Leonard Williams, who I already mentioned, second team All-Pro this year. He had a sack in the playoffs. He was a 2023 trade deadline. 2024 draft pick Byron Murphy, 7 sacks in the regular season, 2 in the Super Bowl. 2025, prior to 2025 season, offseason, DeMarcus Lawrence. 6 sacks, 11 TFLs in the regular season, 2 sacks in the playoffs. Jaron Reed, prior to 2023 offseason signing, he was drafted by them, played there a while before, but came back to the Seahawks prior to the 2023 season. He was more of a rotational piece, but still a solid rotational piece in the regular season in the playoffs. You've got Boye Mafe, who had an 11.8% pressure rating in the regular season, a 16.7% pressure rating in the Super Bowl. He was a 2022 draft pick. Derek Hall, 2023 draft pick, 15.8 pressure rating in regular season and 2 sacks in the Super Bowl. And oh, by the way, DeMarcus Lawrence was the second amongst edge rushers in run defense grade, according to PFF, and Leonard Williams was 12th amongst defensive tackles in numbers and run defense grade via PFF. And that's just the D line. And I'm gonna try to be quick with the secondary. You got your outside corners, Tariq Woolen and Josh Jobe. Tariq Woolen was a 2022 draft pick. Josh Jobe was a practice squad pickup just right before the 2024 season. They both contributed greatly. Were very, very good corners. You've got Devon Witherspoon, who was a 2023 draft pick, a little bit more versatile. He can play outside. He can play inside in terms of outside corner, slot corner, strong safety. Was a 2023 draft pick, as I already said, all-pro this year, and to me had a Super Bowl MVP caliber performance, although nobody can be mad that they gave it to Kenneth Walker. You got Nick Emenwari, who was a 2025 draft pick, who was second in the NFL in Rookie of the Year voting or Defensive Rookie of the Year voting, and in the playoffs only yielded a 79 passer rating when targeted. Another guy that they can deploy all over the field, whether it's slot corner, whether it's strong safety, whether it's using him as a blitzer. Nick Emenwari is a dude. But even in the back end, you've got guys whose primary position is free safety: Kobe Bryant, Julian Love, Ty Okada. Kobe Bryant was a 2022 draft pick. Ty Okada was a 2023 UFA, and Julian Love was a free agent added prior to the 2023 season. Those are guys that can play free safety. They can play strong safety. Julian Love and Kobe Bryant have a history of even slot corner as well. And all of those pieces that performed very effectively throughout the regular season and the playoffs came together and were utilized exactly how they were meant to be utilized under now who I consider the best defensive mind in the game, and that is Mike Macdonald. So you have to give a ton of credit to the Seahawks front office, led by John Schneider, for what they've been able to do to build this defense just since 2022. However, this is the other side of the coin. What the Super Bowl also exposed when it comes to the Lions are where Brad Holmes has failed. Because I don't even know if we talk about this enough. Since 2021, Brad Holmes has used premium draft capital, not first round, but second and third round picks on Levi Onwuzurike, Ife Melifonwu, Josh Paschal, Broderick Martin, and Ennis Rakestraw. And this is since 2021. And Paschal 2022, Martin 2023, Rakestraw 2024. Not a single one of those players played one single snap in the 2025 season. And that's the difference of it all. Brad Holmes, unfortunately, used second and third round draft capital on guys who have largely been ineffective or injured. And with the Seahawks, with their secondary and with their D-line, it's just been hit after hit after hit, and they just keep coming at you. They're fast. It's just, that's how you build a great defense, and that's what the Seahawks did, and they're well coached as well.
Yeah, Flannel. Good to see you today, Flannel. I want to ask you, what did you think about the Super Bowl halftime show? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm joking. That was a joke. Yeah.
Oh no,
Flannel, what do you fall with that? No, I won't do that to you. Let me ask you this then, Flannel. Just kind of following up on the Super Bowl conversation. Like, what are your what do you feel like Brad needs to do this offseason in order to even get that Lions, especially more so? Like, we know what the Lions offense is, and I know the offensive line, so we really don't need to have that conversation. I think that's pretty obvious. But like defensively, like for the Lions to get to that Super Bowl level and even like turn this defense, they already have a handful of pieces, but to get that over the top, what are like some of the moves and things you want to see Brad make this offseason to get that Lions defense to that Super Bowl? Like, they obviously, like, my thought process is this, Flannel. They don't have to get to the Seahawks defense level because their offense is so good, but they have to get as close as they can to have a chance to win the Super Bowl. How do you think they do that?
Well, I think you have to use a first or second round pick on an edge rusher. That's for sure. I think safety is a position that the Lions should target in both free agency and the draft. Defensive line as well, just interior D line. But if you just want a couple of moves that I think are very makeable for the Detroit Lions, and we have all offseason to talk about this, but since the Super Bowl is fresh on our mind, I'm looking at a couple guys who just played in the Super Bowl as not huge splash moves, but I think could really help this Detroit Lions team, particularly this year when you consider the uncertain futures of Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. I'm looking at Boye Mafe. He's a free agent coming into this offseason. He's a guy that I think that the Lions could target as somebody who didn't put up huge sack numbers this year, but did put up solid sack numbers the two prior seasons, but had a good pressure rate. Like I said, about 12% in the regular season, almost 17% in the Super Bowl. Just a guy that you could put on that defensive end rotation opposite Hutch. Not a world beater, but a very solid player. And also Kobe Bryant. As we know, Kobe Bryant, he was drafted to be a slot corner, but he's transitioned into free safety, and he's been really, really solid. I think you got to give a lot of credit to Mike McDonald for looking at a guy like Kobe Bryant and seeing that he could be used more effectively at the free safety position. But to me, those are a couple solid moves that wouldn't cost a ton of money with good players that I think could contribute to the Lions next year and make their defense better. That's by no means all that the Lions should do, but just coming off the Super Bowl, those are a couple that are intriguing to me, that there's really no excuses. You can't use money or cap space as an excuse to not go after those guys. If they're not Brad Holmes' cup of tea, whatever. But in my opinion, those are a couple of guys that could help the Lions defense. Kind of unheralded, but really, really good.
Flannel, we were talking about Dave Montgomery before you joined, and the talk about potentially trading him. Where are you at with his future and kind of his importance to the team? Do you think it's a realistic shot that they dump him this offseason, or you think would be stupid if the Lions decide to do that?
Well, I would keep him, and I certainly wouldn't dump him and have Sione Vaki as the backup. That's for as the backup to a Jahmyr Gibbs. That's for damn sure. I will say this though, I am in favor of keeping David Montgomery. However, if you told me that the Lions were wanting to get rid of David Montgomery, save a little bit of money, but go after a different running back in free agency, like there's a couple that are available, Travis Etienne, Javonte Williams, or Rico Dowdle, I'd feel better about that than letting Sione Vaki take over the reins as the backup running back, because people forget he wasn't even a running back in college. He had 43 career carries in college, and how many in the pros? Like 6 or something like that.
Yep.
Not in the Super Bowl window. I think, at least right now, it would be good for the Lions to have a solid, like 1A, not even 1A, 1B. Just Jahmyr Gibbs might get the lion's share of the work, but have a solid second running back. And honestly, David Montgomery, you could say, especially with how he was utilized last year, that maybe he's a little bit overpaid. But in terms of effectiveness, I would just keep him and let him play out the contract. I think that this running back duo can be damn good for the next couple of years. could be one of the strengths of the Lions, hopefully potentially getting to the Super Bowl and winning it, especially if they fix the O-line. So my number one not my number one priority, but when we're talking David Montgomery, it would be just keep him. It's not like you have to re-sign him. He's under contract for 2 more years.
How do you feel about the other conversation that's been brought up a lot here in the last 48 hours? Now, we talked about it today, is the whole Sam Darnold, where does he rank among NFC quarterbacks? And Flannel, I mean, I'll say this. Me and you have gone back and forth between Jalen Hurts, and you've thrown Jalen Hurts in the MVP conversation alone just because he won a Super Bowl. Are you throwing Sam Darnold now in that elite category because he finally won a Super Bowl? Or can we maybe come to terms here a little bit with that, conversation me and you have all the time?
Well, you misrepresented what I said about Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, it was a joke. It was a joke.
But if we're being real, I still have Sam Darnold behind Stafford, Hurts, and Goff. And the reason why, and I have a lot of respect for Sam Darnold, but this is where you have to have a little bit of a nuance. He's only had one really phenomenal regular season. He's only had one phenomenal playoff game. Shout out to him for that monster NFC Championship game performance. But when you look at the divisional round, he had 124 yards passing, and Kenneth Walker had 116 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, and the defense gave up 6 points. And we all know what happened in the Super Bowl. He had like a 50% completion percentage. K9 was the Super Bowl MVP, and the defense was dominant. So to me, Sam Darnold, he gets his respect from me. He never really didn't have it from me. I think that if you want to put him in the top 5 of NFC quarterbacks, you know what? I still wouldn't do it. And I like Darnold. It's just he needs to, I think, build more of a resume. Like if he has a monster season next year and a playoff run next year where he plays well, then we can have that conversation. But I still don't think he's done enough. If he would have had a dominant Super Bowl and he would have won Super Bowl MVP, then we could definitely have that conversation of ranking high amongst NFC quarterbacks. But I'd have Sam Darnold somewhere, I don't know, 6 to 8 or something like that. He's earned some respect, but it's not like he was a world beater this season. He had one great playoff game, a regular season that was solid, but very turnover prone. And then last year he had a great regular season and a bad playoff game. And before that, he was a draft bust. Hasn't done enough to get that high in the NFC quarterback pantheon.
Well, Flynn, I wanted to ask you, I mean, some news coming out about the Tigers today. The Tigers, I mean, you had the Reese Olson news, but the JV news, all right, which kind of came out of nowhere. What are your thoughts on what's kind of been happening today with the Tigers and moving forward, Flannel, especially JV coming back home?
Well, I'm extremely excited about Justin Verlander, and I'll get to that in a second. I was about to come here on Crunch Time and just give this whole spiel about how great it was, and I still will to some extent, not just with Justin Verlander, but what Scott Harris has done with the pitching staff this offseason overall. However, the Reese Olson out for the season news did hit me pretty hard. We all had heard rumors from Evan Petzold that he might not start the season, but the fact that he's going to miss the whole year, that's the guy to me that if the Tigers were to be their most successful, he would be the number 3 starter after Skubal and Valdez, and he would be healthy. But the problem is he never has been in his career. 3.60 ERA, 1.17 WHIP, which is insane. 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, 53 starts, 284 and 2/3 innings. He's been a really, really good pitcher, and I thought he would be solid in this rotation. However, bringing in Justin Verlander, a guy who is obviously long in the tooth, and some people have sentimental reasons for wanting him to be back, there's also baseball reasons. Last season, he had a 3.85 ERA and 152 innings. If you're looking at Justin Verlander as being a 3-4-5 starter in this rotation, you would take that any day of the week. He's still got something left. And in his last 11 starts, he had a 2.87 ERA, 60 strikeouts, and 62 and 2/3 innings, and a 1.20 WHIP and a 3.3 strikeout to walk ratio. He was really, really good down the stretch in August and September of last year. Throughout the whole season, he was actually pretty solid too, especially for his age. And when you talk about the starting pitching rotation, and this is even with Reese Olson out, which sucks and I hate it, but we have to move on. You've got Skubal as the best pitcher in the planet, Tarek Skubal as the Tigers ace. You've got Framber Valdez, who is no doubt one of the best number 2 starters in the AL and in baseball as your 2 starter. In fact, he'd be an ace on some rotations. And then as your 3, 4, 5 starters, you have, in whatever order you want, Jack Flaherty, Casey Mize, Justin Verlander. That's pretty damn good actually, that's very good. That could be a dominant pitching staff if everybody stays healthy. In fact, it could even be the best in the American League if everybody stays healthy. And you've also got maybe Jackson Jobe returning at the end of the season, although I'm not counting on that. Troy Mellon as like a young, promising arm who's obviously got great stuff and showed some things last year. And even a guy like Kiter Montero. What if Kiter Montero is like your 7th starter? You could do a lot worse than that. And then you talk about their bullpen. You've got Will Vest, Kenley Jansen, Kyle Finnegan, Tyler Holton. I will make one. This is my guarantee. I'm not going to guarantee that the Tigers will make the World Series. Actually, I have 2 guarantees. I'm not going to guarantee that they'll make the World Series, but I guarantee they'll win the AL Central. And I guarantee the Detroit Tigers in the 2026 MLB season will lead the MLB in fewest runs allowed, because they have a damn good pitching staff, and you have to give a ton of credit to Scott Harris for making that big swing with Framber Valdez, for making a really solid move with Justin Verlander when all you need him to be is a depth pitcher, and even going back to earlier in the offseason, bringing in Kenley Jansen, who's to your bullpen, who's older, but he still pitched really, really well next year. This is a Tigers team that has a World Series caliber pitching staff. I know there's concerns about the lineup, but this is a pitching staff that I believe will give up the fewest runs in the American League. And even if the lineup is solid enough, this is a team that's going to be really exciting to watch and can really do some damage in the 2026 season.
Do you think they add any more pieces, Flannel? Like when you talk about like the adding bats, I keep seeing that's obviously the thing that keeps getting brought up. Everyone knows they have pitching. It's like, can you guys add another bat? Like, is that something you think they end up doing here from now to the start of the season, or even maybe I know it's so early for the trade deadline, but do you think that's a must if they want to win a World Series?
Well, I'm looking at the trade deadline as a potential time to do it. I'm not saying this is right. If I'm Scott Harris, this is just what I think Scott Harris is thinking. I'm thinking Scott Harris thinks, and I actually don't think this is a bad thought, that a guy like Kevin McGonigal could be the American League Rookie of the Year and come into the lineup and be effective right away. That maybe Riley Green can clean up some of his strikeouts and get back to having great plate discipline again, but maintain the power. That Gleyber Torres, he's back. Dylan Dingler is obviously somebody that we all love and is promising. Spencer Torkelson had his best year last year, but he's obviously very, very, very flawed. Maybe Colt Keith makes an improvement. I don't think that's enough, by the way, personally, but there's reason to believe that this Tigers offense in spurts can be solid. But I still think no matter what, even if the Detroit Tigers actually display some offensive competency this season, and most of what I said could happen actually happens, I still think come trade deadline, depending on who's available, the Tigers should make a move, because I think they have a World Series caliber pitching staff. And you saw last season in the first half, they had a ton of all-stars in their lineup. You had Riley Green, you had Gleyber Torres, you had Zach McKinstry, you had Javi Baez. Every single one of those guys kind of crapped the bed down the stretch. So no matter what happens with this offense in the first half of the season, I think Scott Harris should add at the trade deadline when it comes to bats. Hopefully their pitching staff is set. I think if they're relatively healthy, knock on wood, the pitching staff is fine. Not just fine, could be elite.
Have we asked you about the future of Tarek Skubal? What have you thought about this whole kind of process now that last time we talked to you, I'm not really sure if we were able to get your thoughts on it or not, but what have you thought about the whole Tarek Skubal storyline up until now. The arbitration, him winning the arbitration to where we are now.
I mean, congrats to him for winning arbitration, but I think that he's pretty much as good as gone. I think what the Tigers are doing this year is a last dance, at least with Tarek Skubal. And I don't love it. I would have preferred if they signed him or just traded him and got something for him. But as I've said before, and I think I mentioned this on a Saturday show with Caleb and Gentry, one of the options that they're actually exercising right now is they're trying to maximize this season and go for it this year, especially with the uncertainty. There might not be baseball next season. We don't know that. So I do think Skubal will walk in a free agency. I don't think that the Tigers are willing to pay him like 8 at $400 million or 9 at $450 million or even 10 at $500 million. And I think another team will, but right now, I think that the Tigers have given me a reason and a lot of fans a reason to be hopeful that this year they could actually get it done. I understand that getting to the World Series and facing a team like the Dodgers, that seems pretty daunting as of right now. However, just one little tidbit about a potential Tigers-Dodgers World Series, and I know I'm getting way ahead of myself. The Dodgers are a super team, obviously. We know that. They've won back-to-back World Series. But Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Tucker, and Freddie Freeman are lefties. Skubal Valdez, tough matchup. Just saying. So, yeah, I think in conclusion, Skubal is as good as gone, in my opinion, but I at least respect that the Tigers are going, maybe not all in, but actually making a real run for the World Series this year by putting together maybe the best pitching staff in the American League, maybe all of baseball.
I like it, Flannel. That fires me up a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, before this offseason had occurred, I wasn't feeling too happy about the Tigers. I was worried that here was my biggest fear, but it's gone now, that Skubal would be here for this season, have a dominant year, and the Tigers would win like 83 or 84 games or something like that. Now they've given me reason to believe that they could actually be very formidable in the American League. And hey, in the World Series, anything can happen. And I already gave you why Skubal and Valdez could be potentially tough matchups for Freeman, Tucker, and Ohtani, who are arguably their three best hitters for the Dodgers.
Yeah. Well, by the way, before we get you out of here, what have you thought about the now Pistons post-trade deadline not making any moves before we get you out of here? Because I don't know if I know you probably said it on Saturday mornings with Crunch Time, but how do you feel about the Pistons going forward? I know you mentioned on our show that you don't think as constructed they're going to win the championship, but you know they're finding ways to win games in the regular season. Has your confidence swayed, or are you still kind of where you were at?
I have no problem if you say that the Pistons are the favorites. I have no problem if you're confident that they can get to the finals and win it. I, however, believe that while the Pistons may be the best team in the East, come playoff time, I actually think the playoffs could be a little bit more open than a lot of Pistons fans want to admit, because I would have liked to see them do more, the Pistons. And you can say that, Michael Porter Jr. and Trey Murphy didn't get traded at all, which I like that. That makes me feel better. But who I wanted the Pistons to get and who I think is really going to be big help for the Timberwolves is Ayo Dosunmu. And I think that the Pistons had what it took to get him. I think he's the type of player that would give me more confidence, along with Kevin Huerter, along with everybody else, that the Pistons can get out of the East and potentially give whoever comes out of the West a tough fight, or maybe even beat them. And I also look at, I think the Celtics got better with Vucevic. I think he's going to be more for the Celtics than what Anthony Simons was. I think James Harden, even if he's been a playoff choker, is going to be better for the Cavs than what Darius Garland was. I think even Jose Alvarado to the Knicks is an interesting in the margins move. I also think, and don't laugh, the Charlotte Hornets could be a pesky team in the first round of the playoffs for the Pistons. A pesky team. And we all know the rivalry is brewing right now. They got Kobe White, which adding him to their really nice young nucleus, which has been helped out a lot by Kon Knippel's spectacular rookie season, The Hornets will not beat the Pistons in the playoffs, but it's tough. I think it'll be a tough matchup, and I think the Hornets got better as well, as did the Knicks a little bit, and I think the Celtics and the Cavs got discernibly better.
Flannel,
go ahead.
Well, I just want to ask, like the stuff that happened yesterday. Like, where do you land on that? I've heard a lot of people on Twitter and everyone's like on a different sides of like Stu shouldn't do that, Stu should do that. Like, where do you land on that? Are you fine with what happened, or are you one of the guys that are like, we need to get this thing under control here?
I don't like it, to the shock of absolutely no one.
I knew it. That's why I asked. Because I'm on the other side. I love it. Let's get more of it.
Yeah,
I told someone today, I was talking to someone today, my take on it was like, dude, they like the NBA at this point, because there are scuffles like every night now. They should just lean into it and allow it to. Now, I'm obviously not like allow it to fully get out of control, but like if someone goes out there and throws a punch or two and gets going after it a little bit, like, okay, get back to your benches. Let's get back to the way the 90s were. Back to your benches, no suspensions, no one's kicked out, and all right, that was fun. It's like in hockey, like all right, maybe a little penalty box or something. I don't know. I think they should allow it. I love the fact that Stu came off the bench and absolutely stood up for Jalen Duren. I don't think he should get punished for it either.
Well, but here's the thing. That's how you want it to be. I'm talking about what is. Isaiah Stewart is in danger of having a lengthy suspension. And I don't think we know what it is as of right now. I'm curious to see what he gets. And Isaiah Stewart, to me, he's too good of a basketball player to be putting himself in a position where he can miss games, because there's a rule. You cannot leave the bench to join a melee. You are going to get suspended. Isaiah Stewart has already had multiple game suspensions. And Isaiah Stewart this year, I mean, I think what's funny to me is that so many Pistons fans will talk over and over again how, oh, if Isaiah Stewart were healthy, the Pistons would have beaten the Knicks in last year's playoffs. And for the record,
it's true.
Okay, but why are you condoning behavior in which he's going to get suspended for a large portion of games? He will get suspended for a long time, Booner, and you won't see him. And hey, you know what else? The Pistons are entering a stretch in which they play at Toronto, at New York, at Chicago. That's an auto dub. Home versus the Spurs, home versus the Thunder, home versus Cleveland, at Orlando, at Cleveland, at San Antonio. You might want Stewart for those games, and you're probably not going to have him for a lot of those games. I'm just saying, if the world were the way that Booner wanted it to be, where you could fight and not be suspended, I'd feel differently. But I want Isaiah Stewart on the basketball court because he's a damn good basketball player. He's arguably the best rim.
Hey, Flannel.
6'8", and he's been valuable offensively as well.
Flannel, it's what you get with Isaiah Stewart. To be able to have a guy like that who plays hard and who sticks up for his teammates, you have to take the good with the bad, and you have to take the suspensions with what it is. And I'm okay with doing that. It's just like anything in life. Like, it's like, hey man, I got this really hot girlfriend, but she might really do something I don't like, and it's like, oh, well, take the good with the bad. Like, what do I prefer? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Like, you got to take the good with the bad sometimes.
Well, but what if, let me ask you this, Booner. What if Isaiah Stewart does get like a 8 to 10 game suspension? He misses that entire stretch of basketball that I just mentioned, where the Pistons have a bit of a gauntlet. The Pistons go 500 in that stretch, or maybe 4-5.
I'm okay with it.
In danger of losing the 1 seed. How would you
it's not? It won't have that. If that happens again, it's the same thing you were just telling me. You're playing right now in what ifs. We're with nows. Like, what's going on now?
Suspended, Booner.
But you're playing what ifs if they go 500 in that stretch. They might not go. They might win every game in that stretch.
Oh, they're winning every. So Isaiah.
I'm just saying. You're saying you're playing in ifs. I'm playing your game right now.
God, man, every time a Detroit sports team gets good, the fans don't just get joyous. They get defiant. It's like, we're good, we're awesome, fuck the world. That's what's happening. And for the record, I like Isaiah Stewart. I didn't always, but I do now, because he's turned into a damn good basketball player. And also, think about this. Do you guys think this is legitimate? If you're an opposing team in the playoffs, the coach of said opposing team might take a guy and be like, get under Isaiah Stewart's skin. He might do something stupid and get
that I can work with. I can deal with that. I can see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not good. But like that's different than I think like what Isaiah did yesterday. Like it was very clear like Miles was probably the one in the wrong. The altercation was ending and Miles goes up and tries to start something. No one's sticking up for Jalen Duren. Guess who comes flying in like Spider-Man? It's Isaiah Stewart. And people in the chat, like I understand you're not allowed to leave the bench, but I like the fact, and it's the same thing that JB Bickerstaff said post-game. JB's like, listen, these guys are brothers, Jalen and Isaiah. And if you see someone picking on your brother, like it's natural reaction to step in and help. And I know you shouldn't, but that's what it is. And I would rather have a team like Isaiah Stewart is doing and have the chemistry and a guy that wants to back up his teammates than have a team that's winning 10 games and they don't want to play for each other. So I like where they're at right now. And I think they should continue having each other's backs the way they do.
Having each other's back is one thing. And I agree with you philosophically. I love what the Pistons are and that they seem to have a brotherhood and they fight for each other, but you can't leave the bench, especially if you can't leave the bench and try to punch who is a POS, by the way, Miles Bridges, and be Isaiah Stewart and expect that everything's going to be okay. And it's going to be even worse for him moving forward. The microscope of the refs and the entire National Basketball Association will be square on one beef stew. He's going to have to be a saint moving forward when he comes back. He have obviously a great team, but Isaiah Stewart is really freaking valuable. I could see the Pistons missing him, and maybe that could be what puts, like, let's just say they go to Cleveland or San Antonio and missing Isaiah Stewart is what gives the Spurs the boost to beat them. You know what I'm saying? Like Isaiah Stewart, he's not an all-star or anything, but as he is first team all defense, or at least he should be this year. And that's definitely something.
Hey, Easy keeps asking how does Flannel feel about Bad Bunny. He keeps wanting to see your response.
Flannel's a fan. Weren't you not? You came back after the halftime show. You're like,
no, my wife is a big fan of Bad Bunny.
That's what it was. Okay.
So I wanted to just kind of like go hang out with her for that time, and she enjoyed it. And it is what it is. I'm not mad at it.
You're just indifferent. You're like,
after this week, I do think Bad Bunny has a couple bangers that I think now, like I was driving home from work and I threw a couple Bad Bunny bangers on, and it's like, okay, maybe, I was a little late to Bad Bunny. That's okay. Like, it's all right. Like I said it yesterday. I just think like they went at a different demographic to get more viewership in the Super Bowl, which is as a business, the NFL should have done.
As soon as it happened, everyone hated it. I was like, it's what the NFL, it's smart.
It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Well, what the NFL is doing smart, man, trying to appeal to a global audience, which, by the way, they're going to end up going, every NFL team will end up having to go to Europe or something, somewhere.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we had the conversation like a week ago that I think there's like almost 10 games next year overseas. I think they said their goal at some point is to have every team once a year go international. So.
I'm in the same boat. I don't know any Bad Bunny, so it's not like I was sitting there bobbing my head and going, hell yeah, but I don't really care, to be honest.
Doesn't bother me. People I'll say this, a lot of people made it turn into politics. Like, dude, it doesn't, I don't even care about that. I mean, Bad Bunny's massive, so you understand why the NFL did it. And I don't think it had anything to do with any politics.
Do I think, though, that Bad Bunny appeals to the average NFL fan? No, I do not.
No. That's why they did it, though, so they can get more people outside of the NFL. It's smart. It's a good business move.
Maybe that's why I am where I am in life. Is I'm not a soulless bag man. I think they're that's why I said what I said, and it's nothing anti Bad Bunny, but I get what they're doing. Get a global audience, but it's like, I don't really care about that stuff. But that's why I am where I am in life, and where why Roger Goodell is where he is. So,
should I play some Bad Bunny right now just so we can get taken down?
Oh,
no.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. You guys are running a business. That's a bad business move, Booner.
Yeah, that's a terrible business move. I played an Olympic video the last Friday, and our whole show got taken down because I wanted to play skiing.
Yeah,
we were
the
Olympics.
Tweets. I found out quick how the Olympics work. See, there's a difference on YouTube. You can get the stream demonetized, and then you just cut the clip and it gets remonetized, or you can get the stream taking down, which that's what the Olympics did. They took the whole thing down. They didn't even give me a chance to cut it out. So Flannel, we appreciate the hell out of you, my friend. Keep up the great work. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, thanks, Flannel.
Talk to you guys next week.
There you go. Flannel Sam joining the show talking about everything. Pistons,
Legend.
Lions, Tigers, Little Bad Bunny in there, Super Bowl halftime show. Can
we talk Tigers?
Yeah, of course.
Can we talk Justin Verlander? The Detroit Tigers are going to win the World Series, dude. I'm all in. I was all in last year, remember? And everyone called me stupid because I said they were going to win it. And I think I genuinely believe they beat the Mariners if they had one more elite pitcher. Like, I think that's a fact.
Or any offense.
Any offense, but if you just remember that game, the final game, you go into like the 16th inning, and it's like, dude, if you just had one more pitcher to come in for Scooble, or you just had one more, like, you win that series.
Or you can just get a run.
Or one run, just one run. Dude, they might have no, they do. They have one of the best pitching rotations in all of baseball.
That's a fact.
All of baseball. And I think for the last 2 years since we've been doing this show, when the Tigers have gotten to the playoffs 2 years ago, the one thing that we've always talked about is if you have one of the best pitching rotations in baseball, you have a chance to win the World Series. If you go into a best of 3, a best of 5, a best of 7 series with this Tigers team with the pitching rotation that they currently have, no one is beating you. You have Framber Valdez. You have Tarek Skubal, 2 of the best lefties on the planet. Like, those are 2 wins. And then you're talking about Jack Flaherty, who, if you get the good Jack Flaherty, that's a win. Now you have Justin Verlander. That's a win. Casey Mize, that could be a win. And then it's like Troy Melton. It's just like, it just keeps going. It's just like, dude, they have the best pitching staff in baseball, arguably. And it's like in a 5-game series or 7-game, who's beating them? Who? Like, you get 2 wins right away with Valdez and Skubal. You're up 2-0. Now you have to win 1 of 3 with either Flaherty, Verlander, or Casey Mize. Like, you're winning one of those. No one's beating you in this. You're going to the World Series if these guys stay healthy. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If that rotation stays healthy, Jeff, they're going to the World Series. And I'm not kidding. When I saw that today, or like even with the Valdez one, and then I saw Verlander, and then I'm like, dude, this rotation, that's a World Series rotation, dude. It is. This is the year the Tigers go back to the World Series. It's February 10th. It is happening.
I'll say this on Justin Verlander. Even though he's 42,
doesn't matter.
No,
last year he was good.
That's where I was just about to say. He had a respectable ERA last year. I know Flannel talked about that. 3.85. By the way, at his age, 29 starts, played a lot of significant innings, had a strong kind of second half of the season, had kind of a first half. People want to probably go look at his his overall record this season, 4-11. But go look at the offense he was with, like what they were dealing with. It had less to do with his actual pitching ability.
Yep.
He was actually pretty solid for a 42-year-old. Like, to be honest with you, like this is, even though maybe he's not as much of a workhorse as he used to be. I mean, he had a sub 2 ERA over his final several starts this past season. So, like, I love it. JV back in Detroit. He's not some washed player just hanging here for a last ride. Like, he can actually contribute. 152 innings he pitched, which is like, that's not like at 42 years old, dude.
He had a game last year, 5 innings, 10 strikeouts in 1 game. Like, he could still cook. And for him, the biggest thing with this, and like a lot of people are always old, he's like your 4th or 5th starting pitcher. He's not like your 1st, 2nd, 3rd. He's your 4th or 5th. I think a lot of people, like last year, remember, Jeff, like when you got into that 4th game, that 5th game, like, or even like sometimes 3rd, like you're like, oh, Tigers are moving into pitching chaos, right? Like, do you remember the pitching chaos last 2 years where it's like now you're starting like a bullpen guy and you're going in there and you're just trying. You don't have to do that this year. You have 5, maybe 6 guys. If Jackson Jobe gets back, or how Troy Melton is, like, you have 5 or 6 dudes that could start a game and go 5 innings and set you up for success. And yeah, your offense needs to play well. I would guess, Jeff, just in my opinion, 2 years ago, you saw with this offense, like Riley Green, these young guys, they started to get better and went on that first playoff run. You can't disagree that last year, all of those guys, that offense took a jump and improved. Even with them, they weren't the best. They improved a little bit. You would think that in this next third year of them going to the playoffs, you would think that this offense starts to improve even more and guys get a little bit better.
They have to.
And like Connor McGonigal, like he's someone that gets pulled up. Like you would think that this offense starts to improve a little bit more. I don't think they get stagnant. I think they but even with the pitching, like all this pitching now, you would think that kind of helps carry that momentum.
You would hope
they're winning I almost said Super Bowl, a World Series, dude. No doubt.
My big I agree with everything you're saying about the pitching staff. I think my eyes are now on just work. Like you got to score runs. I went and looked today because I was curious. Because I know the pitching staff is going to be the conversation today, but we're looking. I wanted to see what runs scored, just at least a good feel, because I knew we were going to have this World Series conversation. The last 3 World Series winners were top of the league in runs scored. And the Tigers last year had like 750. The last 3 World Series champions were 800 plus, like close to 900, at least this past season with the Dodgers. 842 in 2024 with the Dodgers. And then 2023, the Texans, 881 runs, third in the MLB. So they got to score runs. Like as much as we want to talk about the pitching staff, their offense, you got to have a heartbeat. And maybe to your point, they just get better by default. But at the end of the day, they might need to just add more bats. They need to add some bats in here.
They do. I mean, they're not going to – I don't think they're going to be able to by the start of the season. But to Flannel's point, like I think the trade deadline, that's where they're going to have to make a move. And honestly, when you get to the trade deadline, you're going to have a really good feel on what you need to add, what position, what type of bat you need to add. Like they're going to get a really good feel for that by the time the trade deadline comes around. But even before that, like this team, dude, they're like 22-1 to win the World Series and 9-1 to win the AL. I'm gonna by the time the
9-1 to win the AL.
Yeah, before the season starts, I'll make sure I have both of those bets in. So I think I genuinely believe like if this rotation, they don't even fully need to stay healthy. They just need like 4 of these guys to stay healthy and dude, they'll run through the AL. If those top 3 guys stay healthy, dude, there's no one beating them. There's just no one. I don't see a world. This might just be biased, like recency bias, because it just all happened today.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you have.
But I'm fired up, dude.
Verlander's back, so of course you have to have a little recency bias there. I mean, it's fun.
It's like your 5th starting pitcher or your 4th starting pitcher.
They're deep.
It's
they're
insane.
unbelievable. I know the Reese Olson news. It sucks. It's like it really does suck. But they have such a deep rotation, and I mean they do. And credit like said, left hand, like you have good matchups in general. The pitching staff I'm not worried about. It's just the offense. I'm going to keep saying it. It's just the offense. Got to score.
And I'll say this too. Credit and you know what? We've said bad things about Scott Harris. We've said bad things about Chris Ilitch. I will retract every single statement on today. I'll retract it all, because the one thing that we've always pushed back at those guys for was spending money. And we're like, you cannot win a World Series if you are not top 10 in spending in Major League Baseball right now. Like every World Series winner, you have to be top 10. Guess where they are going into today after all these signings? They are 9th in Major League Baseball. They almost double almost every single team in their division in spending. They're at like 245. I think the next highest is like 140 something in our division, and in the Central. And then I think like the next is like 100 and something. I don't even know. And like our pitching staff alone, our top 4 rotation is $100 million on its own. So like Chris Ilitch and Scott Harris, they ponied up the money and they stepped up, and now they're spending the money, and now all of a sudden this team's a World Series contender. And it's like, hey, look exactly what you needed to do. Spend money, you're a World Series contender. That's how it works.
Yeah, I think Mark Ryan said this. Mark Ryan, I heard him last week say that the last, I don't know how many years, World Series champions were like top 10 in payroll or top 8 in payroll. I forgot. I don't know the exact number he said. And I think the Tigers before the Verlander signing were like just outside it.
They're like 11th.
Yeah, they're getting in.
Pushing 10th.
Yeah.
Now they're 9th.
Yep. Yeah, they are. Because you're right. They're actually, I think that's probably the big thing before we get to Mailbag. Like, give some credit to Scott Harris, as much shit as he's taken. Yeah. Like, there's still more, in my opinion, a little more work to do. But overall, like, he's done a pretty good job, at least so far. I mean, they're approaching this offseason as serious as you can hope. They're probably going to add more, but still, kudos to them, man.
I thought
honestly,
too.
This is to me like icing on the cake at this point. I mean, you're getting
well, the Framber Valdez signing, that was like, hold on a sec. Like them to spend 30 plus a year on another starting pitcher or another lefty, and obviously the Skubal arbitration thing, but you just see them drop another $30 million on a guy like Flannel said that could be an ace on a different team. You're like, wait a second, this Tigers team is serious about winning. Like they are going all in. And then obviously you hear the Reese Olson news today, but then before that, you're like, wait a second, Justin Verlander, like that's your fourth, fifth guy. That's an elite rotation. And I think it shows that they're willing to actually spend money. And I think that's been the pushback, I think, with Detroit Tigers fans for years is, hey man, we just want to see you guys spend money, have some sort of effort.
Yeah.
And I think now like this last few weeks showed they always wanted to. They were just kind of being more patient and waiting for the right time to do it. And now obviously they feel like this is the perfect time to go out there and contend for a World Series. And obviously this is the last year you'll probably have Tarek Skubal most likely, and they're going all in on it, which I love. And then even if Skubal leaves next year, you have Framber Valdez as kind of your ace, or if you want to bring someone else in, now you have something to actually work with. So you're not totally dead in the water even after this year.
Well, that's what we talked about with this Skubal window that they were kind of wasting. I mean, now it's like last year you go all in, man. Like, let's go. You got one more left to control, like whether you trade him or not, but let it ride out. And you have, the best pitcher in baseball, and you're adding a lot to this pitching staff. Like, it's going a World Series. Like,
and by the way, Tim just put in there, are they trading Skubal? People defer on. Dude, I think there's a 0% chance if they would trade Skubal now at the trade deadline. I think that would be a little more irresponsible because you did go all in with the money. Like you are now top 10 in spending, and now you're in that spot. And I understand people might want to get something for Skubal if you're going to let him walk. But again, like I said this to who did I say this to recently? I don't know if I think it was for the Pistons or so. It's like, you're not going to why would you trade Skubal if you have a chance to win a World Series? You're not selling if you're a World Series team. Even if a guy's going to walk, you don't. Oh, I said it to Caleb about the Pistons. Like you're not it's a new era. It was like Caleb said it about Tobias Harris. Like, well, he's on an expiring deal. Like that's what poverty franchises do when they're at the bottom of the market and they have a guy on an expiring deal. Then they go and sell off the last year of a deal of someone to try and get something. But when you're a contender and you're top 10 with a chance to win a championship, you're no longer in that, hey, we have a guy on an expiring deal, let's walk away. That's not, no, like you need that guy to go out and make a push.
By the way, Alan, appreciate the super chat.
28 bucks.
Shout out to Alan, man. He donated this earlier. We're talking to Flannel. He says, I've been away for a while. Miss y'all boys. Well, we miss you too, Alan. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it,
Brad
Alan.
could find a Monty in the 5th and 6th round unless he is trading down the first pick to get more players because of all the needs or of the need in multiple positions. Feels like he will trade down. I would say, I said this before, if you need someone to get 700 yards and be like Jameer's going to get 70% of the carries and you need someone to get 30%, they can find that. To actually utilize Monty, they can't find what he brings to the table. Just in the draft. You can, but you have a for sure thing in Monty.
Yeah.
So it just depends what they want to do. Do you want to go back to a 60-40 backfield? Then, in my opinion, you keep Monty and have a hell of a run game. But if you want to keep him in the role to get 700 yards, I mean, I went through all the running backs that got 700 yards this year. Like, what's the Woody Marks got 700 yards? Like, he's better than those guys, man. Like, utilize him. Stop playing games with Monty, dude. Stop it.
I agree.
By the way, earlier, Anakin, appreciate the member for 6 months. Can we do this with the offense, talking about our tier rankings? Proud of Detroit did the defense, so maybe they come out with an offensive one. But we appreciate you being a member for 6 months, though, Anakin. Easy. Shout out to Easy for tuning in. He says, Mailbag, prime Kate Upton or Christian Goff?
Prime Kate Upton. That's a great question. Prime Kate Upton, dude.
Yeah.
Prime, like,
yeah,
dude,
like Verlander in Detroit. Like, this is like, we're talking.
And growing up, it was like Kate Upton was like a icon.
Yeah. No doubt. Kate Upton. That was like, I think if you had to say childhood crushes, Kate Upton was up there. Like Megan Fox Transformers was up there.
You know my number one. Everyone knows
Margot Robbie, another one that was up there for me.
Well, of childhood, she wasn't like, she was college, like,
Well, Well, I'm not that old. I mean, we're talking like 10 years, bro.
Yeah. Well, Margot Robbie, like
How old
childhood.
do you think she is?
She's younger. She's not old. Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie is like just a little older than me.
She's 35. She was 25 years old 10 years ago.
Yeah, but I don't know, when did she get big? When was her first big movie?
She did a movie with Will Smith in 2015. I think that's the movie actually I saw her first.
Well, I graduated high school in 2015, so I was in childhood. Yeah, so that's your childhood. I was out of my childhood at that point.
Oh, well, yeah. Why you? That's mine. This is
that's
mine.
why I literally said you're younger. I started that off with you're younger than me. Like my childhood crush. I mean, I've said it a minute. Like my number one in my life has always been Jennifer Aniston. That's my childhood growing up. Jennifer Aniston is like the greatest of all time. Like she's like my Tom Brady.
She's my Tom Brady.
Jennifer Aniston's like my Tom Brady. She's like the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah, she's Hitch.
When I was a kid, I was like Hitch. Margot Robbie was not in Hitch, was she? That was who's the lady in Hitch? The girl in Hitch.
She played no, well, the who is the chick in the Mark Wahlberg, Will Ferrell, other guys? She was Will Ferrell's wife in that movie. That girl.
That's the same girl from Hitch. Yeah. Great. Yeah. She's awesome too. She wasn't Wolf of Wall Street. I didn't know Wolf of Wall Street was 2013, by the way. I didn't see it until I was in college, so I can't say Margot Robbie.
Another one. Yeah, I mean, I was like, at that time, I'm 13 years old. I mean, 14
yeah, I didn't see it until I was in college, so I can't. I was not familiar with Margot Robbie until college. I'll say that. So she was not a childhood crush. For me, childhood crush was Jennifer Aniston.
It's still a good one. Yeah.
Kate Upton.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say Kate Upton. Shout out Jared Goff and Christian Goff, but Kate Upton's she's in a different tier. Xavier, Mailbag, greatest sports movie of all time.
That's such. Well, I loved, and I want to make sure. Hold on.
This one to me is like, it depends. This is like another generation thing. I don't know, like. It kind of depends on what there's. I think a couple people will say different things for this one.
I have two, if I'm allowed to say two.
Okay, say two.
Well, one, Friday Night Lights, I grew up watching and I thought was incredible. Like I remember as a kid,
it has to be up there.
That made me want to like always like play football growing up. I remember watching that as like a middle schooler, being like, I want to be on varsity. And then another one for me, these are ones like Rocky. I see in the chat, great one. Rocky is so good. Mm-hmm. So I like Sandlot. Another one for me, basketball wise, one of my first movies that I ever got to see, sports movies, Hoosiers. I don't know if you've seen it, but Hoosiers.
Coach Carter, another great one.
Coach Carter's a good one. I remember too, by the way, the quick story with the Hoosiers. That was like my first sports movie ever. Got me into basketball. It was like one of those movies where you're like, oh, I love this game. In Hoosiers, they go to the Hinkle Fieldhouse, which is Butler's. And then in college, I got to actually coach at Hinkle Fieldhouse. So that was like such like a full circle moment for me. It was like the coolest moment of my life. We walked in for shoot around and I was like, this was a place that was like literally based off of a movie that made me want to be in basketball. And I was like, and I'm coaching there versus Butler. Like it was insane. What was yours?
I would say there's a lot of good ones. I'd probably go Coach Carter. I think that's up there.
Great one.
Movies like actually at the time was really big because I think because of Sandra Bullock, who killed the role, was Blindside. Sandra Bullock killed that role.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
And then I found out Michael Orr didn't even like them. It was like, dude, this movie's not even accurate. But at the time, that movie was huge. That movie was massive.
Remember the Titans, great one.
Yeah,
Mighty Ducks is such a good one. Growing up, Mighty Ducks is incredible.
Yeah.
And by the way, too, and then people are going to think, Booner, you're an idiot. I just realized that the dude in Mighty Ducks is what's his name's brother, Charlie Sheen's brother. Did you know that?
No.
The lead in Mighty Ducks, that's Charlie Sheen's brother. Esteban or something like that.
Emilio?
Is it Emilio Esteban?
Estevez?
Estevez, that's what it is.
Yeah, he's Charlie Sheen.
He's Charlie Sheen's real brother. Charlie Sheen, Charlie Sheen changed his name because his dad's name was something Sheen. And his dad changed his name to be in movies, to be like a movie star. So Charlie switched his name to be like his dad, but Emilio never did. He kept it. Emilio Esteban.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Estevez. Sorry, I saw Esteban in the chat.
Esteban.
Sorry.
By the way, tomorrow we'll have the DOC on. We'll get to talk to the doc about his report today that we read. We'll have some good conversations.
Charlie Sheen's real name is Carlos Estevez. No, I found this out I watched Charlie Sheen's documentary, and I've learned all this, like who his brother was. It was incredible.
Yeah, that's a hell of a stage name, like Charlie Sheen. It just sounds badass. Yeah. That's a movie.
His dad, Martin Sheen. His dad was like really big too back in the day too, like massive Hollywood star, huge. What a family, by the way, because his brother's like the lead in Mighty Ducks. His brother was in you see his brother, Jeff? He was in, was his brother? No, his brother wasn't the Back to the Future. No, that's not a different guy. Sorry. Some of these guys all look alike. I thought he was the Back to the Future guy, but that's definitely not. Woo!
It's time to get out of here, man. Tune in tomorrow, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. We'll be back with the DOC. Until then, appreciate
Love you guys.
Peace.